I think I'm live. Let me try and get a link to this to share. I'm not using OBS today. I appreciate no one's actually even watching this right now, but for anyone watching this back, I'm not using OBS today. So it means I've got a long wait for people to arrive. And it's probably going to be a little minute before I even figure out how I can share this link. So please bear with me if you have just joined. There we go. There's a link. Let me see. Link. Okay, guess I'm live. Hello, 3 people. Oh, it's a long way from what we used to do on here, eh? My high quality videos. At least for a while after I stopped doing the daily show, I would do live streams where I would have OBS and it would look really cool, and it was all a bit of a joke, but at least I had good graphics and so on. And now I'm just like sort of sat here drinking a beer on I was going to say Sunday night, but it's not, is it? It's Monday, right? It's Monday. Holy crap. That's what working from home does to you. I've been working from home for months now. I miss my office. I was more productive. I was drinking less. I don't know. I thought I would pop on today because there's been people who are high Anglo-Saxon. There's been people asking me to do this stuff again, and I'm willing to do it. It's just that I feel like I don't want to do it because I'm interested in righting wrongs and you know, addressing political issues, not because I'm trying to become famous from it or become like a sensationalist media personality from it. I got into politics all those years ago because I saw a real injustice. I had my own plan. My own life was sort of set out ahead of me. I was going to go to art school, and that was my idea, and I was going to have a normal life. But then I saw injustice, and I wanted to fight it, being an angry young man, and that's led me where I am today. And I've gone through some twists and turns, and as part of those twists and turns, I've engaged with the hyper partisan stuff. You know, the doing a shocking video and telling you the facts because the media won't tell you that. You know, that stuff. Like, and I've done it, and I've felt like I never told any lies, but it's like that whole industry. I don't like it. I don't think it achieves anything. I don't think it helps anything. And so that's why I've gone back to writing books and things. And if you haven't already, I have written a new book, Monster of Their Own Making, which is about my story, specifically my early days in the BNP and things like that. I think it's a good book. So if you're looking for something to read, Monster of Their Own Making, I would encourage you to pick it up. But that's kind of the direction I've gone in now, because I'm sick and tired of seeing just these reactionary videos of people desperate to pick up clicks, like this Black Lives Matter stuff. The moment it started, and I'm not going to play it down of how serious it is. It's serious. But the moment it happened, like immediately you see like conservatives jumping on it to get clicks. And the left did it too. It's not just conservatives, but the conservatives immediately started jumping on it to get clicks, particularly black conservatives, because they know that's their niche. And it's, let me do a video telling you why the left treats us like puppets and why the left is racist towards black people. Well, oh, sorry, I just got an email. Sorry, I shouldn't let that distract me. You know, you see these black conservatives going, the left are the real racists because they treat us like puppets. Well, it's hang on a minute. Anytime Candace Owens says something really dumb, Larry Diffie, I agree with you. I don't trust Candace Owens, nor do I, and nor should you. Whenever she says anything dumb, like conservatives start applauding like trained seals. Like, oh, she said it. She's so right. Well, like Candace Owens can say absolutely anything, and conservatives treat her like she's right. Like the most recent thing she was saying with George Floyd is he was a disgusting criminal. I don't know why anyone's supporting him. Like, first of all, calm down, love. And secondly, what the hell does him being a criminal have to do with anything? Being a criminal doesn't mean an immediate death sentence. It means you get trialed. It means you go through the justice system. You get arrested, you get charged, you go to court, and then you are sentenced or freed. It depends. It doesn't matter whether you're a criminal or not. A police officer shouldn't kneel on your neck and kill you. So why are we talking about the content of George Floyd's character? It wouldn't matter if he'd just punched a man down round the corner and been arrested for it. There's an issue here of police brutality, and I don't think it's widespread. I mean, it's more widespread in America than the UK. So I think it is worth us talking about police brutality. But first off, it's not as widespread as they claim, and secondly, it's certainly not racial. I've written columns about this and stuff, and hopefully columns are going to come out soon. That was actually just what one of the emails I got was about. I've written 2 columns about this. It looks like one is going up on, hang on. Yeah, okay, it looks like one's going to be up on human events soon, so that's handy. I'm waiting on confirmation of when the other one's going to go up. And in those 2 pieces, I talk about this, but I also make the point I'm not going to go through the statistics. I'm not going to do a video where I could very well use this green screen I've got here, which I don't know why I have it up. I live alone at the moment. My wife's on the other side of the world. I live alone and I just have a green screen up in my living room. I could very well stand in front of this green screen, get the lights on, get the big fancy camera I've got, and do a video. And here are the real facts about what, I'm not going to do that. We know that it's not widespread. We know that the police aren't hunting black people. I'm more interested in where we go from here. And I'll talk about that after I read some of these comments, I suppose. 21 people, damn. Okay, I know I'm not exactly YouTube star territory here, but I was expecting like 2 people. Mystery Rob, hi. Larry Diffie, I don't trust Candace Owens. Matt Penny, all right, Matt, mate. I'm well, drinking beer. I have to say it is gluten-free beer because I've since found out I'm one of those annoying people that can't eat gluten. Trusting her is beside the point. It's about the content of her statements. Her point on his being a criminal was not to excuse the cop. It was a message to the black community not to. Oh, so I see this Yuval guy is defending Candace. No, I'm sorry, Yuval. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm not going to defend Candace Owens here. Her point is that people should stop idolizing him. That's kind of beside the point at this point. If we want to move forward on this, we have to bring down the full force of the law. We need to reinstate law and order. That's important. But Trump just tweeting law and order and then mouthpieces like Candace Owens, who frankly is nasty. The girl is nasty, mean-spirited, nasty. Her making these comments really doesn't help the situation because it kind of reaffirms the view of the far left that Republican conservatives don't like black people. And people can say, oh, optics, whatever, it's about doing what's right. Well, yeah, it's about doing what's right. But how good is doing what's right going to get you if you don't actually achieve anything? If you just further alienate people? I'm a pragmatist. I'm a pragmatist. I've spent enough years in radical politics to realize that it's not helpful to just be screaming and shouting all the time and using these talking points. I did this on Channel 4 when I was like 23 or 22. I forget how old I was. And I went on Channel 4 and I went on live on air and I gave this woman, what did I do? I gave her a form to take in a Syrian refugee and told her, take this, I hope you don't get raped. At the time, it was very cathartic. It felt like the right thing to do, but did it achieve anything? Nah, just made me look like an idiot. I'm a pragmatist, and I don't see what Candace Owens is doing as helpful. in any sense of the word. How is it helping? If anything, it's widening the divide. At this point, when we have such a radical movement of far left progressives who are out on the street burning down shops, burning down people's businesses, violently attacking people, vandalizing statues of Winston Churchill. What the hell are conservatives thinking, sitting there and slagging off George Floyd as if that's going to help? You realize what that does is it reaffirms the narrative of those crazy people that, see, look, they just hate black people. We have to come down with this. We have to do a couple of things. First off, we have to bring in the military, the National Guard, and quell the violence. We have to. But we have to also look at it in a compassionate way. And let me tell you why I think it needs to be looked at in a compassionate way. I will do that after I read some of these comments. Hang on. Again, more people defending Candace. I'm sorry, if you want me to defend Candace, it's not going to happen. Her point was, don't make Floyd a martyr. I'm going to tell you in a moment why I think this is all by the by. I'm going to tell you why I think we need to look at this as if people are experiencing real pain. But let me read some of these comments. Old speckled hen gluten-free in order to avoid the old speckled porcelain. True. Hi Jack, you're awesome. What do you think about the statue coming down in Bristol? Maybe I should write these things down. I'll write it down and I'll try and address it in a minute because I want to talk about a theme that I'm writing about in 2 columns that are coming out and another column that I'm going to write soon. That is the cat. Hello, cat. Statue in Bristol. Yes, hello, cat. Yes, hello. Okay, what else? Bringing down the statue. Lionizing criminals. You mean idolizing. Okay, well, Yuval, whatever your name is, I apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I suspect you're not going to like what I'm going to say. Feel free to stick around, but you're not going to like what I'm about to say. So, okay, here's why we need to look at this thing in a compassionate way. Candace Owens can carry on doing her whole shtick. George Floyd was a terrible guy because it gets her clicks and it makes her the big bucks. So, cool. What I would say about that is you cannot group every single person who is out on the street, who's out rioting or protesting. A lot of them are rioting, but a lot of them are just protesting peacefully too. And listen, I'm not going to defend the rioters. No chance in hell am I going to do that. Yes, Kitty, go away. There are people out there who are cold, calculated ideologues. They know what they're doing. They're out there stirring up trouble, causing problems with an ideological cause, right? And I would say maybe those people make up like 50% of the people that are out on the street. I'd say another 20 to 25% are opportunists. Let me ditch the percentages here because I honestly, at this point, I'm just guessing. But some of them are cold, calculated ideologues. They're stirring up trouble with an ideological cause. Some of them are out there are just opportunists who want to loot. Others are just kind of dumb, and they've been told why people are doing this, and so they go out and do it. But then some of them are out there because they've been told from an early age that white people secretly hate them, that they'll never get ahead because they're black, that the whole system is set up against them through systemic and inherent and institutional racism, that whenever they walk past a white person on the street, that white person is thinking, oh, that person's disgusting. And this has been reinforced by the media for so long. This idea of institutional racism, that white people hate black people. I was in the BNP as a teenager. And for the vast majority of my time there, even the time when I was using racial language and being actually pretty vile about ethnic minorities, I didn't really hate people based on race. It's actually quite a rare thing. When you're told this, and when you're told all that, and then to top it off, you're told that the police will kill you any chance they get, you bet that that is some real pain. It might be wrong, but it's real pain. People are out there campaigning because they feel real pain. They are troubled and scared. And Yes, of course. The reason they feel that pain is because they're being lied to. And the reason they're believing it, it's like conservatives might then ask, well, why aren't they going by the evidence? Why aren't they looking at the FBI statistics? The FBI statistics don't mean very much because a lot of people, you have to remember, are not like me and are not like maybe you watching this. A lot of people don't think in political terms. They're not thinking of things in a black and white way, pun not intended. They're not thinking of things in Republican versus Democrat because they get up in the morning, they go to their job, they have their family, they look after their kids. They're not thinking about politics. Most people don't. So when it comes to FBI statistics on shootings and things like that, most people aren't going to be looking that up because they're just going to trust the people that in their community that A, they believe know more about this, and B, they believe have their community's best interests at heart. And so when you trust those people and then you hear from those people that black people are being hunted by the police, as Joy Reid said, and as George Floyd's lawyer even said, when you're told that hurts. That hurts. And again, it doesn't matter whether they're wrong or not. It hurts because it's real. They're on the street feeling real pain. And you're not going to get rid of that pain. And by the way, the reason you want to get rid of that pain is because, one, you don't want people feeling pain like that in the first place. And secondly, if people carry on feeling that pain, then this problem never goes away. And let me tell you, Candace Owens doing videos where she's talking about how disgusting George Floyd is not helpful. It's not going to make that pain go away. If anything, it will reaffirm their view that Republicans or conservatives don't like black people, even if it's coming from a black person. That's not helpful. And as I said earlier, I'm interested in results. I want to be a pragmatist about this. I think that's super important. Tell me, how exactly are we going to solve this problem by bitching about George Floyd? I'm just going to share this video again on Twitter, see if we can get some more people in here. It's pretty mad that there's a fair few of you in here. I don't know if I have super chats set up on here. I never thought about doing that because I never thought I'd actually get people on here, but please do feel free to do that if you think you can get my attention with it. I'm not using OBS, so I'm not entirely sure. Yes, Kitty, I'm aware. Okay, let me just share this one more time and then I'll read some more of your comments. Jay Wills, the KKK gets escorted on their marches by the police. Should they get a knee on the neck too? That comment was automatically hidden. I'm guessing because of the KKK mention. Again, I'm going to take some notes down of your comments so I can address them. Matt Penny, the protesters are fine. Rioters are doing no good at all. They're the morons. Yeah. I mean, and again, we say the protesters are fine. Everyone has a right to protest. The protesters are wrong. They're wrong. But as I say, they're feeling real pain. And you can't dismiss that real pain. Oh, more Candace stuff. Her main solution is leaving the Dem part. Not an interesting one, granted. She's a bomb thrower who wants to push back. She's a bomb thrower who just achieves destruction, Yuval. That's it. She doesn't actually achieve anything. Armed Brit, what do you think about companies virtue signaling? Good topic. Let's do that. If you do hear weird noises in the background, that will be my wife's cat, which is still with me in England. Yeah, I'm not a cat guy. Companies virtue signaling. Let's talk about that. What else have we got here? Looks like vigilantism isn't the only way to get justice, as the police won't lift a finger if you're on the right side. Just cares about money and clicks. True. Jack, for a guy who disagrees with Candace's tone, you understand her pushback on the inflammatory. Listen, Yuval, I don't want a whole conversation about Candace Owens. I have zero respect for that girl. I think she's only in this because the cash led her there. She has nothing of interest to say. She's never had an original thought in her life, and everything she does is about destruction. I'm willing to admit when I've done wrong. I'm willing to admit when my tactics have been wrong, and they have been wrong for many years. And what I want to talk about is actually how we can maybe tackle this problem, maybe come through it on the other side without radicalizing more people to one side or the other. So listen, respectfully, I don't want to talk about that girl. I don't want to defend that girl. Freud is a symptom of a lack of police accountability. The police brutality problem will not be solved because people keep making it about race. That's definitely true. And actually, that's a good point we should talk about. The police brutality issue will never be solved because we're constantly making it about race. And that's true because now we're talking about the very real possibility of disbanding the police. And there was some Twitter thread the other day was saying, "Oh, people don't understand really what defund the police really means. Actually, it's just a slogan. What it really means is like change the police from the way we know it. Like revamp it. It doesn't mean get rid of it. Like, well, what pray tell are you going to replace it with?" There was someone else who was asked by a newsreader. I wish I could tell you who it was. It was on one of these videos that I happened to scroll past while I was sat on the loo. And they asked the woman who was defending the defunding of the police. I think it was a Minneapolis councilwoman. It was, in fact. And they asked her, well, listen, if you're going to defund the police, what do I do when someone's breaking into my house at night? What do I then do about that? And her response was, well, it's very easy for you to say that, but there's already people out there, black people, who feel like they can't call the police in the middle of the night because it might make the situation worse. Are you kidding me? The police will make a situation worse if they turn up to a house that's being burgled or burglarized, as you Americans say. They'll turn up to a house and go, oh, the owner's black. I'm very sorry. Not happening. It's not happening. And first of all, the idea that you can say that there's people experiencing that, so you shouldn't even ask what we should do in its place. Well, what will you do in its place? You can't just dismiss that question by saying there's already people that struggle with it. That's lunacy. What are these poor people in Minneapolis going to be doing? Because the last I read, they've literally voted. The council has voted in a way that can't be vetoed to defund the police. God help the people of Minneapolis, because it's effectively going to become the purge. Yeah, I did write down your question about the statue. Sorry, I haven't got back. I do have it right here. I will talk about that in a sec. Talk about the way Jack hates his cat. It's not my cat, it's my wife's cat. Okay, right. Statue in Bristol. 2 Labour MPs, as far as I've seen, supported this. One was Clyde Lewis, and the other was, if I can find her name, Nadia Whittom. Nadia Whittom MP. Again, I don't have OBS, so I don't think I can show you this, but it was her. She's posted a video of the statue being pulled down. It was a statue that was erected in 1895 of a slave trader. And they tore it down. They jumped up and down on it. And the people jumping up and down on this statue as they pulled it down, would they be jumping up and down it like that if there was nobody around? Like, if they just pulled it down in the middle of the night without anyone knowing, would they have jumped up and down on it as a symbolic sort of gesture? Or are they jumping up and down on this statue because the world is seeing it and the cameras are seeing it and their friends were around them, and they want to assert their dominance? Look at us, we pulled down this statue and there's no reaction, there's no response, there's no fight back against it. And 2, I'm going to be on camera, I've got to look really woke. That's what they're doing. And this is what I mean. I think these people are the cold, calculated ideologues. These are the dangerous people. These aren't the people feeling real pain. The people feeling real pain aren't jumping up and down the statue. The people feeling real pain are at home scared because they believe this lie that the police want to go and kill them just for being black. Or they're the ones who are peacefully protesting in the streets because they don't want to make things worse. If they were really scared, they wouldn't want to make things much worse. Is it right the statue was pulled down? I don't think so. There's lots of statues of all sorts of people who've done terrible things. It's part of our history. I don't want to do cookie cutter politics. I don't want to give you slogans that anyone could give you. I'm not going to come out with the usual talking points that you could get from one of these right-wing media outlets on YouTube or whatever. So I'm not going to say they're trying to erase our history. I think it's more nuanced than that. They do want to erase our history, but I think it's largely an act of dominance. Because they've made themselves the arbiters of truth, right? They've elevated themselves to God status. When they elevate themselves to God status, they have to become accountable. They've got to answer a lot of questions there. They are suddenly the deciders of what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. And rather than answering questions about those things, which is hard to do when a lot of the things they say are inherently hypocritical, the whole trans thing being just one of them. They don't need to defend themselves with words. They just defend themselves with violence. And they do it with violence because it asserts their dominance and shows people, listen, if you disagree with us, we will fight you, and we will fight you hard. We'll get you fired. We'll harass you. In my case, we'll report you to the FBI and claim that you're a terrorist, which has resulted in me having legal battles for the last 4 years. We will tear down your statues. We will harass you in the street. We will throw bricks at your head. We will chuck bicycles at police horses. They can't answer all these questions. They can't defend themselves the way that any logical person could defend themselves if they were presenting a coherent argument. And so they have to do it with violence and fear instead. Just think how many people are terrified about coming forward and opposing these people. And they use tricks of language too. The Black Lives Matter. You see that with, and this comes on to somebody asked me about companies' virtue signaling. What we saw today with Yorkshire tea and PG tips. I drink Yorkshire tea, even as a proud Lancashire lad. I drink Yorkshire tea. It's very good. But they've come out in favor of Black Lives Matter, and then PG tips come out in favor of it too. And they equated with it on Twitter, as we will defend people against racism. Well, defending people against racism is not the same as supporting Black Lives Matter, but you're told it is because that's the words they use. Like, I'm an anti-fascist, so therefore anyone who opposes me is a fascist, right? They use tricks of language to lull people into that sort of trap. And then they defend themselves, not by logic, because none of it makes sense. They defend themselves with violence. That's going to be the focus of one of my new books, by the way, if I can find a publisher for it. Things didn't go so well. My friend Mystery Rob on here did tell me not to be negative on here. But I've got to be a bit negative. My latest book, which I do think is fantastic, Monster of Their Own Making. Let me grab it. Sorry, you're going to see me in my Nike tracksuit. Lockdown clothes. That's my book, Monster of Their Own Making. Looking significantly smarter with shorter hair. This book is really good. It is really good. But COVID-19 happened as I was releasing it. And all my media was cancelled. All my TV interviews were cancelled. So it's effectively, if you do want a copy, Monster of Their Own Making, it's on Amazon. I promise you it's a good read. I've had some really great feedback and I'm very happy about that. So I hope you'll pick one up. But I would like to write more books in the future. And I think one of my next books is going to be about what I was just talking about there with the way that they control language and control people through fear. Is part of this idea of the righteous mob of angry ideologues who are convinced they're right. And even when they know they're not right, they don't care because they just use fear anyway. I'm going to have to watch this video back, I think, because I have some of my best lines and some of my best lines of thought when I do these things. Like I did a video on my YouTube. I don't know if you've noticed, I've started using this YouTube again, and some of the videos that I do on here are just completely unscripted, and I'm usually having a drink when I do them. And my latest video, I thought was damn good. And I'm thinking, damn, how did I do that? Where did that come from? And I turned it into a column. And I thought, you know what? It was easier for me to sit and rant on camera talking about these things and then turn that rant and transcribe it and turn it into a column than it was to just write a column. So I do want to do another book about the righteous mob, about sensationalism, and I've got a feeling I'm going to be looking back on this video for topics. I'm going to take another look at the comments now. I don't know how people do this. I get on a great train of thought, and then I'm like, oh, comments, and then I get lost. Yuval, cash leads a lot of people, Jack. You'll face that accusation as well. I don't make my money through politics. I don't need politics to lead me because that's not how I make my money. What do you think will happen if Churchill gets pulled down? Civil war. Interesting thought. If Churchill gets pulled down and the backlash is equally sensationalist, then it will just keep radicalizing the two sides, and things won't get much better. If we instead see that Winston Churchill was torn down, and we level with the public, or the government levels with the public and says, hey, this isn't right. This isn't right. Let's talk about this issue. Let's talk about that issue. Let's talk, calmly about maybe some of the assertions that are being made about what's happening to the Black community are not completely correct. And let's understand the real pain that people are feeling. I think that's far more productive because, one, it shows that both sides aren't as bad as each other. It shows that one side is actually willing to listen while the other side is trying to burn things down. And that brings the people who are stuck in the middle over to the rational and sane side. If we start, I don't know, tearing down their statues too, or ranting and raving and becoming loudmouth public figures who just go out there punching people and getting arrested all the time, then we're not really going to achieve much, as we've seen that kind of thing hasn't achieved much anyway already. I think, and it's going to be very difficult to do, but I think we have to remain level-headed and sane. And we have to understand the real pain that people experience, because some people are experiencing real pain. And as decent people, which we are, we have to address that real pain. Okay, what else is going on? Christian England, considering the connection with the far left groups like Antifa and Stand Up to Racism, do you think this BLM BS is related in any way? Yeah, they're all connected. They're all connected. Their GoFundMe, Black Lives Matter UK, is a coalition of Black activists and organisers in the UK are committed to dismantle imperialism, capitalism. 780k raised. I wonder where that money's coming from, eh? Where do you reckon that money's going to? 780k. The things they could do with that, by the way, 780k could be used to hire a fair few police officers to make some communities safer. Or that 780k, presuming it's not going there already, could be invested in Black communities. Social clubs and things, or, help for young Black men who have gone the wrong way and find themselves as part of, postcode wars and stabbing each other. The 780k could go a long way there, but instead I imagine it's going to be put into, who knows, signs for people to hold during protests, weapons. We've seen that before. We've seen weapons being purchased by left-wing groups to give to people in protest. So who knows where that money's going, but I can't imagine it's being spent very well. Mystery Rob, his latest book is out now, folks. Get your copy before it sells out. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but you can buy it. You can buy it. Donald James, no one mentions the source of this trouble. It's called Freemasonry. Oh, Damo James, it's not Freemasonry. It's not. I gotta go and ask my Freemason mates. What did you do? What did you do? Come on, man. Come on. The Freemasons I know are old fellas. One of them is a guy that looked after my dog when I had to move away and my parents broke up and the family home was sold and stuff. And he took care of one of my old show dogs and in his retirement. Lovely guy, lovely guy. and he really, really loved that dog, and I would visit him all the time, and he's still about. He's still about, but he's an old Freemason. And let me tell you, he's not interested in the New World Order. He's interested in going on walks with his dogs. This isn't a New World Order conspiracy organized by the Freemasons, mate. I'm sorry. It's organized by the ideologues who are actually supporting this cause. The people who want to bring down conservatives because they envision the world in a different way. It seems like educating people on the facts would remove a lot of the anger, but nobody in the mainstream. Interesting point, McTfly. It seems like educating people on the facts would remove a lot of the anger, but nobody in the mainstream is distributing the real statistics on police and crimes. And you know why? Fear. It's because cold, calculated ideologues have perpetuated these lies. And because they're lies, they can't defend them. And because they can't defend them, they use fear to make sure you don't ask questions. And it's worked because, I mean, it's taken a good few decades, but we've got to the point where if you question something that is demonstrably untrue, you could lose your job, you could be on the front papers of the news, the front pages of the newspapers the next day, you'll be dogpiled. And so what we find is that people who don't even believe it end up pushing the lie. You know, people can't even stay. Yorkshire Tea can't even stay silent on the political matter because they get pushed. They pushed and pushed and pushed. Why isn't Yorkshire Tea talking about this? Why aren't the tea companies standing in support of Black lives? And so the tea companies go, right, I guess we're doing this then. Black Lives Matter. Buy our tea. Do you really think they care about this ideological cause? They just know that the backlash against them is going to be intense. And they want to carry on selling tea, man. They need to sell the tea. They don't believe this Black Lives Matter stuff. See, Jay Wells, Gorilla Glue is talking about it. Do you really think Gorilla Glue is interested in a far-left ideological agenda? No. They don't care what these crazy people are saying. They don't believe these lies. They just want to carry on selling Gorilla Glue. This is a constructed crisis along with Corona. Corona is not constructed. Tell that to the people that have died of coronavirus. There's questions that can be had over the lockdown. Fine, cool. But it's not constructed. It's not constructed. Give me proof of that. Jay Wells, even Nintendo took a knee. What can I say, man? What can I say? Well, you know, I guess I've done my thing here. I'll stick around if you want, anyone has any questions. That's a point. Listen, I've said my piece. I came on live because I was going to do a video and I thought maybe I should do a live video. Maybe I should see if I can do this live, and it turns out I can. If you have any more questions before I leave, I guess let me know and I'll stick around. Give me one sec. Someone on Twitter watching Jack Butby YouTube stream and found out that you're a cat lady, Martina. Shocking. Yes, Martina is a cat lady. I'm not. I'm a dog person. I wish I had a picture of my dog I could show you. I used to, in a time gone by, I was a budding artist, like budding flowers and daffodil. I was an artist, budding artist. I wanted to go to art school, and I showed dogs. I was a dog handler. How did this happen? Became the boy wonder of the far right. I became a hipster Nazi. I stood in controversial elections. How did this happen, man? How did I end up here? I got reported to the FBI, and I've been fighting that for 4 years. Holy moly. The time gone by, I was a dog shower. I do think I would like to go back to that, you know. I'm sure you're not interested in that, though. What do you think about these permanent protesters? Rex, maybe you're new to the stream. That's what we've been talking about. The protesters, I think some are cold, calculated ideologues who are dangerous and have a very distinct vision of the world and how it should be. I think some of them are just a bit dumb. I think some are opportunists who want to go out and loot some stuff. And then I think some of them are feeling genuine pain because they've been told all their lives that white people hate them, that the system is rigged against them, and that police will kill them any chance they get. So I think some of them do feel real pain. How much harm do you think this knee gesture thing has done to the police? I think it's done a lot of harm to Nancy Pelosi's knee and hip replacement by the looks of it, but I shouldn't talk like that. I try and talk about being better. Sometimes it just slips out. I write extensively in that book and in my columns and stuff. Now I write extensively about the importance of dialogue and having better conversations with people. And I stick by that. I try not to use the sensationalist language and that stuff anymore, even though it's very easy to, like I just did, like Nancy Pelosi couldn't really stand up after kneeling for 9 minutes. It's easy to do, but I don't think it's helpful. I think it can be forgiven when you're talking about actual far-left ideologues, because those are people you can't have a conversation with anyway. So you know what, kind of mock away, I suppose. But I think it's important to have better dialogue between left and right generally, and that's what I want to do. And I'm trying to be a better person. I don't know what more I can say about that. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, when I let my emotions get ahead of me. I've got a temper on me, man. I've got a temper, and I think I'm doing a better job of controlling that. I think I'm doing a better job of speaking more reasonably and being the person I genuinely am. Because beneath that temper, when I get annoyed by injustice, beneath that temper is someone very pragmatic, who wants to tackle extremism. And on a different note, I find it very frustrating how difficult I'm finding that. People are scared of me. People either think that I'm actually a neo-Nazi, or they think that he hasn't really changed his ways. He's still a neo-Nazi and all these things. It's not true. I'm actually a pretty boring guy, pretty moderate guy, level-headed when I'm not really annoyed. But people are scared of me, man, and it's hard getting published. It's hard getting my voice out there. But I do some stuff, and I've got a research paper hopefully coming out next month about extremism and coronavirus, and that'll be published by the think tank that I work with. Hopefully that'll be out soon. I think you'll enjoy that. Do I get road rage? Yes, I get road rage. I'm a bugger for road rage. Holy crap, especially where I live in the middle of nowhere in the hills, because all the roads, why are we talking about this? All the roads where I live merge into one lane, and it's still a two-way street, but they merge into one lane, and so you have to stop and start and let people pass, and it's a nightmare. And when people don't follow the rules exactly, I refuse to move, and so I sit there in my car like this with one hand on the horn until I get road rage. Thoughts on the American Civil War statues? People in my town aren't really protesting the police. They're demanding the statues be torn down. I don't think the statues should be torn down. It's a part of our history. You don't have to like the guy. Half the time people walk past a statue, they don't even know who it is. And I noticed Owen Jones. If you're British, you know who Owen Jones is. He's been labeling and posting photographs of the statues in London and explaining who they were and why they were bad. He's basically saying, hey, I'm not going to tear it down, but you crazy people will, and here's why you should. Jay Wills, I'm not scared of you. You should be, Jay. Mystery Rob, he is very boring. I can vouch for that. You should hear the conversations Rob and I have. Boring, man. We talk about vacuum cleaners. Clearwater InfoWars. No thanks. He is the most timid driver I have been with. He drives about 10 miles below the speed limit. I do not, Mystery Rob. That is not true. The only time you've been in a car with me is me dropping you at the train station from my house. Don't give me that. We were going slow because we were having a conversation. Alex Jones is more enthusiastic. Well, you know what, dude? Go and watch Alex Jones. You won't enjoy anything I say. Is there a Twitter feature that would help foment more constructive I don't think there's so much a Twitter feature as there are too many sort of Twitter features or interventions made by Twitter. Stop blocking people. Like, stop banning people. Like, the minute you ban people, you just make me even more bloody insufferable. Like, how many times do I have to listen to Laura Luma complaining that her world is over because she got kicked off Twitter? I don't think she should have been kicked off Twitter. I'm not surprised they kicked her off the way she behaves, but I don't think she should have been kicked off. But at the same time, holy crap, I feel like I've heard more about Laura Luma ever since she got bloody kicked off. And I'm sick of hearing about that girl. My God. I miss Rob's voice. Do you want me to... I can call Rob in. Rob. Although I was in a car with him when the steering would randomly alter. Oh, yeah. You were in my car. When... I can't even remember what was wrong with my car, but there was something very wrong with it. And it, like, it would randomly turn the wheel. Yeah, I remember that. It was just before I took it to the garage. Interesting. Rob, if you want to hop on, I guess I could call you. Let me know if you want to come on. If you guys want to listen to Rob. I'm sorry, Clearwater. If you want to watch InfoWars, you can do that. I don't like them personally, but, you know, go for it. Okay, guys, I'm calling Mystery Rob, and then I'm going to call Mystery Rob, and then I'm going to leave him here, and then I'm going to get a drink because drinking beer makes me thirsty. I find him. Bear with me. Oh, shit. Can you guys hear that? That should be Rob if he picks up.
Hello, is that you, Jack?
Could you sound any creepier?
I'm just trying to sound like one of them Wallace and Gromit characters.
Okay, can everyone hear Rob all right, apart from the fact he's talking like a moron? Does he sound okay?
I sound okay.
Well, yeah, I know. I have you on speakerphone, and I'm not doing this with OBS.
Hang on, let me turn up my one and try and create a loop. Let's see.
I noticed that the viewers have gone down significantly, Rob.
I'm fine.
Rob.
So was it they've gone down?
Ever since you came on.
That's because people don't like me because I'm reasonable and I'm fair-minded, and I just talk. Reasonable, fair-minded people aren't entertaining enough. You have to come out and say, you know, build a wall on top of the wall, and you know, all the rest of it. Otherwise, you know, you have to. If you look at the numbers plummeting, Jack. Oh no, they've gone.
They've gone down. We've lost 33%, Rob. Right,
no,
Rob.
They're coming back up now. They're coming back.
Okay, we're on 21. Right, Rob. Listen, I'm going to leave you here, and you can talk to the audience while I get a drink.
All right, okay.
I'm leaving you with Mystery Rob.
All right, well, as long as you get back before I need to empty my bladder, that's okay. Hello, audience. It's me on Jack's channel. You know, a reasonable, average, everyday person, just here talking into my phone and watching the responses on YouTube. I hope you're all well. I hope none of you have got coronavirus, and if you do have it, I hope the symptoms aren't too bad. You know what it's like. It's I can see Jay there. I hope he doesn't have it. Jay is not only is he black. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. He's also a Mexican, and I discovered. I was in America recently, and for the first time I mixed with Mexican people outside of Nottingham, because for some reason we had a few Mexican people with the sombreros, the whole kit and caboodle, the blanket and everything with a hole in. And they were the only Mexicans I've met. But then I met real Mexicans in where they all come from, which is Florida apparently. And they were, you know, nice people. It's really plummeting, Jack. I tried to keep the numbers up. I was trying to pad, but unfortunately, yeah. So
well, no, you did a great job by just describing Jay's race.
Yeah, he's Mexican.
He's black and Mexican. He's got all the diversity points. He'll be telling us he's gay next.
Yeah, that's it. Jack, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't know if you want me to be topical or not, because as you know, or you might know, I have dealt with the American police, and I have some experience, not personally, but I think that the American police are interesting because they're different to British police.
Okay.
I mean, they're obviously different because they carry guns around, and in America, they often find it very hard to understand that our police do not carry guns. And I think there'll be a lot of American people looking at the UK and seeing the protests and thinking, yeah, it's just the same like it is in America.
Right.
Well,
right.
I'm watching what's his name? Anthony Joshua. He's gone on a march in Watford on the weekends, and he's talking. And I haven't watched all the footage. I just saw it. And I just thought, what is that guy? Why is that guy doing? Out of all the people to be marching and complaining about the police, he is one of the luckiest guys going, because right before he competed in the Olympics, less than a year before, he was up before the beak because he was caught drug dealing, and he was convicted. And they let him serve his community service. They could have given him a much worse sentence, and they let him compete in the Olympics. That guy was given every chance, and because he competed in the Olympics, he became a very wealthy man for punching people in the head legally. Right. And I really have a problem with him. I mean, I don't have a problem if he wants to take it up with me, then, or he can say whatever he wants. But I don't understand why this guy that should be saying, look what you can do with the police, give you a chance when the justice system gives you a chance. Look what you can do. Let's be constructive. Why is he going out telling people? I mean, maybe I saw this out of context, but it sounds like he was telling people not to only spend money in black businesses.
No, he was saying that, and that's exactly the line that white nationalists use. I remember being a teenager. I remember being at BNP conferences in like 2009, 2010 and stuff. And that was the line everyone would use, is only spend money in white businesses. And that was unacceptable then. And now suddenly it's acceptable to only spend money in black businesses. And I don't know, man. It's like what I don't know if you have been listening fully, but it was like what I was saying earlier. It's like they get away with saying anything they want. They can get away with telling lies, or they can get away with saying inflammatory and divisive things because they are willing to use fear to control any dissent. So honestly, it doesn't matter that he could get up there and say all white people are scum, kill white people, and it would not be an issue. Like, the media wouldn't even report those exact words that he used, because, well, the minute you start reporting on it as if it's something bad, then the might of the ideologues rains down on you.
I find it. I've thought, what concerns me about all this kind of thing is that very often other people in the world look up to America, and particularly I think there are groups of black people, because it used to be this country, we did sort of aim for people to all be the same. That was kind of the message with this sort of cultural integration thing. And about 20 years ago, I'm losing my voice here. Excuse me. About 20 years ago, when and it was around the time Blair came in, he changed. The message started to become, and the policies in our schools and everything started to come more about division, knowing your roots, identifying with your cultural background. That's how I see it, and I do think it happened on Blair's watch. And what bothers me is that now I think black people in the UK that have, young black people are not seeing what they were getting from the police in the 80s and the 70s. But now they're identifying more with people in America than the white people on their own doorstep, or, whatever race is on there, or Pakistanis on their own doorstep, or Indians, or whatever it might be. There's a group of people that are being encouraged to identify with people in America, and they might never have been to America, and they've got no way to say, well, the experience that's being claimed by people in America is real. They've got no way to judge it for themselves.
I think the proportion of people in the UK who, I was talking before about people experiencing real pain, right? And I don't know whether you agree with me on that, but I think there are many people who do genuinely feel pain. But I would say, I think that in the US, there are more of those people feeling real pain than there are in the UK because, up until the week before last or whatever, no one was talking about this because it's not an issue. Police brutality against black people, it's not a thing. And nobody was even really lying about it because they knew that it was such a stretch. Like in the US, there was 9 unarmed black men killed last year. Only 2 of which ended up where the police actually needed to go to prison or something like that. So it's very small. In the UK, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only unarmed people that have been killed were terrorists.
In the UK, and this is something the rest of the world also does not get a lot of the time, if somebody is shot dead or if anyone is killed by the police, there is instantly a police complaints commission investigation. It's a big thing. It makes the national news. Police don't just shoot people. Like in America, people get shot. It might make the nightly news.
Yeah.
Oh, a guy drew a gun, he was shot. It's a big thing. The police, no matter what happens in the UK, the police get hammered. Even if they do completely the right thing, there's always people lining up to tell them you've done the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so there is no comparison, in my view. Naughty things still happen with the police, but the police are not like they were in the 70s and the 80s, where they'd say, well, there's a bad guy. We know he's a bad guy. We're not quite sure what crime he did. And most of the time they'd be right. We don't know quite what crime he did. We know he's done a crime, so we have to pin something on him. And they get people that way. In the good old, bad old days, policing went completely the other way. And now it's really ineffective to the point where you can have people pulling down statues in the middle of the street in Bristol, which isn't the Bronx. It's not the projects of Bristol. It's not like people around there are scared to go out. It's not like ethnic minorities are scared to go. I mean, they might be. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been to Bristol a couple of times, but I've never picked up.
Bristol. Like I've been there, and I felt uncomfortable when I was there, but only because of the huge presence of Antifa. Right? I used to always say that Liverpool. Sorry for any Americans watching this, you don't know what the hell we're talking about. But I'm from the outskirts of Liverpool, and I went to university in Liverpool, and I spent a lot of time in Liverpool my life. And I've always said that Liverpool is like one of the most left-wing cities in the country. And then I went to Bristol. Holy moly! The difference between Liverpool and Bristol is Bristol is just bog standard social justice warrior. And I say bog standard, like extreme social justice warrior. Liverpool is land of communists, actual communists, which was pretty bonkers.
I think Liverpool is. I mean, we are still a country that has regional characters. You still just about say, well, he's from the city of Liverpool. You can tell, and you might expect a few things, and very often they're not like that. And sometimes they are a little bit like that. And there's certain characters you associate with. Well, I do with the Northeast because of my connections there, and with Birmingham, Liverpool. We've still kind of got that, but it is disappearing as everyone moves around, becomes homogenised. But yeah, I mean, Bristol is just it's a pretty tame area. I mean, that's probably the most wild thing that's happened there since, in the last 200 years. I don't know, maybe somebody will say, oh, no, there's been loads of marches and protests and everything. It's not really, it's not like maybe Brighton, you might say, but is there police brutality every day of the week? There's certainly not in Watford. I mean, I know around there quite well, and I know most of sort of around London areas. I know the areas where people are, if you're black, you're more likely to get stopped and searched by the police. But is there really? I mean, the amount of investigation there is if someone alleges. And let's get this right. I mean, my understanding has been from the police I know that if you were accused of anything that could be construed as racism, you're never going to get promoted.
No,
you're finished.
No,
I don't think many people do it anymore.
So I mean that comes back to my point where I think actually a lot of these protesters in the UK, I think there's a more concentrated number of ideologues within the protesters in the UK than America, because the ones in the UK are clearly either ideologically motivated or just plain opportunists, because this didn't happen in the UK. You know, I saw someone chanting, Winston Churchill was a racist, Boris Johnson is a racist. And it's like, you can see the cogs moving in their heads as they're chanting these things. It's like, who can I say next? And they think about it in the split second and go, you know what, Boris Johnson is a racist. It's like, how, like, you've got to be seriously ideologically motivated and insincere and disingenuous to say that. Because on what grounds are you saying this man is a racist?
Well, I mean, I've been hearing that Dominic Cummings is a I mean, there were people saying he probably brought coronavirus to the northeast because there wasn't any there before he moved. Yet the same people are saying that it's just completely turning a blind eye to thousands of people back together.
I know. It's incredible how we've gone from that. Like, for Americans watching this, Dominic Cummings is the advisor to Boris Johnson. He's a legend. He's awesome. And he's an odd character. He's very scruffy, always wears woolly hats and scarves and scruffy trousers.
He's got no hair, to be fair.
Yeah, but, I mean, wear a nice hat or something.
They hate him.
They hate him. They hate him.
Because he's good. He knows what he's and the big thing is that he's got the civil service on the run. They've realised that he's looking at them and he's saying, where's all this? Why have we got all these managers in middle management doing absolutely nothing? That's the whispers I'm hearing.
No, that's exactly what he did when Dominic Cummings. Right. So basically, the long and short of it to the Americans watching this is Dominic Cummings, advisor of the Prime Minister, really interesting man. He left his home in London with his daughter or his kids or whatever and drove them 200 miles north and dropped them off at a family member's house before coming home so that the family could look after his children while he was in London during the coronavirus. And the media picked up on it, and it was like a full-on investigation. Like, how dare he break the rules? And like the police in Northumberland or whatever were saying that there's going to be investigation. It was bonkers. Yet we're ignoring the fact that there were Labour MPs that went to funerals and who went to barbecue parties. So like, don't start on that with me. But the minute, like weeks after Dominic Cummings was this big story, people are out on the streets rioting, like within centimeters from each other, not within 6 feet from each other. And it's suddenly not an issue anymore. And Labour MPs are suddenly endorsing it.
The exact same journalists that were going after Cummings are talking about these things. Oh, it's protests, and completely ignoring the fact that these people are breaking the rule. I mean, there's no way with those numbers you can't say, oh, we're socially distancing. You can't, and like Cummings, they were going to all the minute detail. Well, any of the Conservatives, anyone that they just don't like the look of, they were going into the minute detail on it. Well, I mean, I keep looking at it thinking, they keep saying, oh, if you're outside, it's not as bad. But if you've got like 10,000 people in a small area,
there's only so much.
It's the same as being inside.
Right. Like being outside, if there's like 6 of you in the garden having a drink, you might not catch it. If you are in a crowd of 10,000 people and the person next to you is like breathing down the back of your neck, you might catch it. Right. Well, Rob, I think I'm going to call it a day. I've been on here for an hour. Thank you very much for joining me for the last 20 minutes or so. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jack. I always like to talk a bit too much. And
no, not at all. Not at all.
Start rambling a bit just to sort of throw you off. No,
not at all, man. Not at all. And I'm sure you're delighted to be speaking to my many, many thousands and thousands and thousands of viewers.
Well, I only knocked a third of them off.
Jay says he missed your voice. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for hopping on. I appreciate it. Maybe I'll do more of these. Maybe not. I don't know. I just kind of felt like it today. I'll definitely do some more videos. I've got 2 columns coming up on this topic, maybe a third. I might sit down and write another column now. I don't know. But the last final thought I will leave you with, if you haven't already, is Monster of Their Own Making is my newest book. You can get it on Amazon, like 20 quid or something, hardback, brand new. This is my story, and it's analysis of how the far left is creating the far right, how the media, the politicians are creating the far right. I hope you might like it. Well, I'm now going to figure out how to end the stream. But once again, thank you very much.
Jack, I've got an idea. I've got an idea for something people can do.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Right. So when you get your book, right, if you're not worried about posting your face on Twitter like I am, then do what I did, which is put the book across your face. It's got a very clever design in it. Put the book across your face and try and line your face up with Jack's, so you become a half Jack Buckby, half whoever you are, a creature, and then just post a picture of it to prove that you bought the book like that. Like Jack, I mean, it doesn't even line up with Jack's own face, which shows how much photoshopping they did. But, you see what I mean? See what I mean?
This is quite cool.
It's what?
It's quite cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but see, you try and do that. Try and do that. See how the lock-in is.
This is reason enough for anyone watching this right now to go to Amazon and search Monster of Their Own Making, Jack Buckby. Buy the book, Amazon Prime. It will be delivered tomorrow, and then do this and post it on Facebook. On Twitter.
Hashtag Jack. What's the hashtag for that?
I don't know. Hashtag Jack is the best.
Monster of Their Own. MOTO. Motum. Monster of Their Own Making. Do hashtag Motum.
Just do the whole hashtag as my book title and the subtitle. Make it ridiculously long. Okay, well, yeah, okay, do it. Tweet me with your face with my face. How's that? That sounds fun.
That's it, your face together.
Okay.
Buy two of them, and then do one in the mirror. No, it doesn't work. Sorry, I was trying to make a whole face, but you can just do it with a mirror, couldn't you? All right, I'm shutting up now, Jack. So
okay, all right.
I'm getting too excited.
Once again,
stop me, Jack.
Thank you, everyone. I'll chat to you soon. Good night.